My lunch and learn. I am so happy to be here. I am here each and every week I'm here to explore topics to help you elevate your mindset, be at your best, and radically expand your life and business. And today I'm talking about influence. It's a really powerful topic, and I'm going to talk to you about how you can increase your influence for even greater impact in 2023. So, if you've had a pretty good ride in 2022 and you're ready to step it up in the new year, you know you've got some ideas floating around in your head and you want more. You're ready to finally act on some of these ideas and say, enough is enough. This is my year. I'm not putting anything off. You actually want to see these dreams turn into reality so you can radically expand not only your own life, but the lives of so many others. Then this is for you. So the world is waiting for you, and the world is waiting for you with open arms. Now, I know some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm Larissa McCooch. I am a master results coach and CEO of Abundance Academy, where we help entrepreneurs, we help educators, managers, consultants, leaders, professionals whose external results tell the world they're successful, and on the inside, they know they're destined for more. Right? You've got the great career, you've got the house, you've got the car, you've got so many beautiful opportunities around you, and you know there's a part of you somewhere, maybe in here, I don't know where, but there's some part of you holding yourself back. So we help people just like you go after their dreams and work with concrete tools to not only love themselves, love their business, but truly love all aspects of their lives once again. So I would love to know where you're coming in from. So type it in the chat. Let me know where you're coming in from. And if you're visiting us and if you're tuning in by replay, type in replay in the chat so we can welcome you here. And if it's your first time with us, then type in first time in the chat. I truly, truly thank you for being here. And I appreciate your presence. Now, I remember when I first came upon this idea of leadership. I was working in the world of financial services and I was 18. I was really young, working in an industry with older professionals and grown-up people. Back in the day, I felt really, really young. And I never saw myself as a leader. I never considered myself as a leader. And we started studying this idea of leadership in the office. I had no idea why. And we were introduced to John Maxwell, and he's created some beautiful resources about leadership and really what a leader is. And over the years, I had just dabbled in this idea of what leadership truly is and how to make impacts on people. It wasn't something I ever thought about or considered for myself. Sure, I was a leader in front of a classroom as I was teaching, right? When I stepped in front of a classroom, I knew I was a leader in that point, in that perspective, but I never really took on the identity of being a leader. And I'd run businesses, I'd started companies, and I never, even in those times, saw myself assume that leadership perspective. However, when I really started studying with my mentor, Bob Proctor, in this program, Thinking into Results, a program for leaders, this is something that I work through with my clients as well. There is a lesson 10 is all about leadership. And Bob points out a really great leader is also a really great follower. And I remember studying this and it started to put leadership into a different perspective. I always thought leadership was about someone trying to get the title or somebody trying to create all this influence. And I wasn't really sure what influence I wanted to create. And so when Bob started talking about this concept of leadership and how leadership really drives us forward and drives the world forward, I started to gain a greater understanding and acceptance of it. Because once again, right now, this resource came into my life and I was committed to fully completing the process. I started looking at how I was an exceptional follower, how I was really incredibly coachable. And I realized that, if I am coachable, maybe I can start stepping into that leadership role more deliberately, not living my leadership roles by default, but actually designing them in a more intelligent, more strategic way. Because I knew I wanted to do something. I knew I wanted to have greater impact, but I was so scared to admit what that was that I didn't even go looking for it. And I think some of us, we have our own experiences. However, when we gain the courage, when we gain the clarity, when we gain the confidence to step forward and speak up with conviction, then you truly have the opportunity to shine and to expand your reach. You truly have the opportunity to express your God given talents and everything that's buried deep inside you and share it with the world. That's what we're all here for. We are here to express ourselves, to be a fuller expression of who we were and who we are put on this earth to be. That looks different for each and every one of you. Ask yourself, raise your hand if you want to. Do you want to make greater impact and positive influence in the world, in your world around you, in the world at large, and create positive ripples across the globe? It's about that ripple effect. You drop one pebble in the pond and see those ripples move. And know that you're an influence in that. Know that you're changing the world, one thought, one decision, one step at a time. Do you want to have people actually listen? Turn their listening ears on. This is something I do with my son. Really listen to you when you speak because they know you have something to say and you're ready to share it and they're ready to listen. Hear people thanking you for your efforts and your contributions. And can you imagine people and their communities around you making change for the better? And you can actually start impacting other leaders around you. So not only you thrive, but they thrive as well. And it really is a beautiful thing. That's ultimately what we're talking about today. We're talking about influence and how you can increase yours to have a greater 2023, a greater impact in this coming year and beyond. So, what is influence? Influence is about the capacity. It's about having the capacity to have an effect on character development or the behavior of something or someone. And the effect, it's basically having that impact on the effect itself. Okay, so it creates internal shifts in your mindset, in a person's mindset. And this idea of influence is something that has to happen internally, right? It starts internally, it's expressed internally, and when you express it on the outside, other people receive it and it starts to have other consequences, right? So I remember listening to, I believe it was Bill Clinton, and we went to hear him speak live. And he was speaking about something environmental. I don't remember what the talk was about. All I remember is a lot of people in my world would talk about Bill Clinton and the power and the charisma he had, and that when he spoke, people listened. And I wanted to be in the presence of that energy. And I remember in that moment, I could hear his passion. I could hear his beautiful stories. He had something that connected him with the people that allowed him to have extreme influence over people and some of the decisions they chose to make. If you look at any political leaders, any religious leaders, any truly impactful leaders in an organization or in a community of any kind, they have an element of influence. Sometimes it's the people that hold the title, and sometimes it's people that work behind the scenes. Sometimes it's people that have this influence through one-on-one conversations. So I don't want you to think that you have to hold the number one title, or the full leadership position officially. Like Robin Sharma said, you could be a leader without a title and still have influence. However, when you step into the influence that you desire, you're going to have an impact or an effect on people. So I want you to, I'm inviting you to adopt this idea that everything is energy. Okay. Albert Einstein said, everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Match the frequency of what you desire, and you can't help but get it. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Now, if everything is energy, even this idea of influence is energy. There's an element of giving and receiving. Okay, giving and receiving, giving and receiving. And one of the things, when you start to step into your energy of influence, you are going to be doing more good for your community, whether it's a small community or a large community, whether it's a family or a business, whether it's any kind of organization, regardless of the title you hold. You're going to start actually feeling really good about yourself because you're actually contributing and making a change. And you're going to see that these positive changes that you're creating, because I'm assuming you're here to create positive change and positive impact, and these positive changes and ripples are going to be good for you, good for your community, good for the planet. And intention really is everything. And if you intend to put good things out there, you intend to put good deposits into your piggy bank, you will start to receive good back. So we're working on the premise in this to increase your influence for the greater good and increase the impact that you want to make. And I want to share 3 things that I want you to be aware of. And you may not have thought of these in this typical context or construct of influence and impact. Okay. So, first and foremost, how you can increase your influence is by actually increasing your awareness and expanding yourself. So think of a bullseye. A bullseye has a little round center. If you expand to the next ring, it gets bigger. Expand to the next ring, it gets bigger. Expand to the next ring, it gets bigger. Tongue twister. Expand to the next ring, it keeps getting bigger. Now, your influence is like this. You lift your influence, you raise your influence by a little bit and your awareness, and all of a sudden things expand exponentially. So, as you increase your awareness of what's possible, as you decide to increase your impact, you're going to start making greater and greater possibilities, not just for you, but for others. Okay. So as you increase your awareness, it really is exponential. And while you increase your awareness, you start to increase your awareness of what's possible, not just for you, but for others. And as soon as you start thinking more expansively, you're going to come up with different solutions. So there's an exercise I ran with my clients several months ago, and I periodically come back to it on our morning calls. And I had them write their goals. So we have big goals that we work towards. I had them write their goal. And there's usually either a monetary component or something numerical that's actually measurable as part of the goal. So I had them write their goal, and maybe it's a time frame, maybe it's a number. There's a number of some sort. And I asked them to double it. And they did. And they were intrigued. Then I had them double it again and really start looking at who they needed to be, what the impact was that they would make as they doubled it again. Then I had them double it again. I had them continue doubling it. We doubled it 5 or 6 times. And each time they doubled their goal, just on their paper, and just the idea or perception of what their goal would be, they started to increase their awareness of what would be possible and what was actually required to achieve that goal. They started to come into new solutions. Problems that they had when they were going towards their goal and they were aspiring to their goal when it was just their regular goal or double no longer existed when it was 5, 10 times bigger. And as soon as you start to stretch your awareness of what's possible and thinking of what's possible, you tune in to other resources. So, step 1 to increase your impact is to begin to increase your awareness of what's possible for you, what's possible for your goals, what's possible for other people. And you might be asking, oh, well, they can do it. Just like I used to ask, oh, well, that's okay for them, but I don't know if I could do it. How could I do it? You're not looking for the how. Your step 1 is just to increase the awareness of what's possible and then decide if you want it. The solutions will come to you. But you've got to increase your awareness and then decide before pursuing it. Those answers will come from your insides. They will come from unexpected places. You've got to keep your listening ears open and listen for the signs and the signals from the universe, whatever they might be. Sometimes they come really subtly. Sometimes they come really obviously. And however they come to you, it's your job to notice it. Okay, so step 1, increase your awareness and really expand the possibilities of what could be. Step number 2, the method number 2 to increase your influence and impact is think differently. So think differently. Even just the idea of increasing your awareness might have stretched your possibilities of thinking. And there's a couple of things specifically I'd like you to think differently about. And typically, when you look at something, when you change the way you look at something, the way you look at things changes. We're trained and conditioned to look at things just like everybody else. And if you follow the masses, it's like those pictures of the sheep. They're running, 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 and then they all of a sudden run off the hill. Well, you don't want to be following the masses. You want to be the sheep that jumps up on the rock, looks at what's ahead, and says, I think I'm going to wait right here, or I'm going to turn around. So you really want to start looking at the world through a whole new lens and not just following what everyone else is saying, not just jumping on everyone else's train, but really understanding what's important and key for you. And when you start to understand how you operate, when you start to understand how universal law operates, that is a beautiful possibility. Now, Wallace D. Wattles, he wrote The Science of Getting Rich. There's many different covers for this book, so don't think this is the only one. There's so many different covers for this beautiful piece of text. And he said, abundance is your birthright. Chapter 1 is you have the right to be rich. And so often that's a way of thinking that people haven't accepted, that it's not the norm for most people. We are born on this planet with the full ability to be abundant, and we have the ability to be rich. However, most people don't step into it because we aren't even aware it's possible. We aren't conditioned to think that way. And so when you start changing the way you look at things, the way you look at things changes. What if you did accept that you were meant to be rich? What if you did accept that you could lead yourself into maybe you could lead your organization to higher revenues and greater impact than it's ever done before. Maybe you could accept the fact that you could start a charity or start a philanthropic endeavor that you've had in your mind for years and perhaps decades and never had the guts to pursue because you just didn't know how to do it and how to make it viable. What if you did start to look at some of the problems in your life and in your business as opportunities and begin to flip them and take advantage of them? When you start thinking differently, you're going to get new solutions of what's possible. And as soon as you step into this act of service, when you start being of service, the rewards will follow. So your job is really to look at things differently and begin to serve. Start coming up with solutions to problems. Start thinking and following universal law. One of the things when it comes to goals, a lot of people have money goals and dollar goals. Well, money is good. However, if you chase the money, you're never going to get it. And if you do get it, it'll probably be not long lasting, or there will not be a level of satisfaction. So when you're looking at things like money goals or dollar goals, really start to look at who you're actually serving. How many people are you looking to serve? And start putting faces to them, create pictures, really look at the emotions that they will experience as you help them radically expand their lives and in turn radically expand your life as well. That is something that successful people absolutely do. And when you start to think different, you start to take those different perspectives, then you will get a very different result. And method number 3 is communicate your message. Okay, communicate your message. And communication is so key. When you start to get clarity on exactly what your message is and you can clearly articulate it, just like leaders of their field, just like leaders in religious organizations, in companies, in charities, in the political sphere, leaders of all kinds, the most powerful and impactful leaders communicate their message and they communicate it clearly. They don't just communicate it through their words. The words you say absolutely matter. They communicate it consciously and unconsciously through their energy and through their heart. Now, you have important messages to say, and it's important that you raise your voice and speak your truth. And this is something that I learned the power, the true impact of in my training in neurolinguistic programming. I heard about it before. My husband and I, we did all the Tony Robbins programs. We understood that there are things in your language and in the things you say and how you communicate that are important. I really understood the nuances of this and began to delve deeper and begin to master it at a whole other level when I started training in neurolinguistic programming. This has not only influenced my relationships, it's influenced my confidence, it's increased my ability to communicate, it's increased my ability to even think about the world and how it works. And as soon as you start to communicate your message at various different levels, knowing that the words you say matter, you impact people in ways you didn't know because they can actually receive your message in a surface level way, in a mid level way, and at a deeper level way. So, this is magic, magic stuff that is incredibly powerful. And when you're aware of some of these magical communication tools, you can be even more powerful in your messaging and in your life and in the impact you're looking to make. So let me just review real quick because these are extremely powerful things. I want you to go out and make impact. I want you to go increase your income if that's what you desire. I want you to go increase your influence this year and truly, truly create magic for yourself and others. So step 1 is increase that awareness and expand yourself. Step 2 is think different. Start looking at things from different perspectives. Start stepping into and acting like that truly successful person, being like the leaders that you've experienced. Think different. Don't follow the crowd. Step number 3 is communicate your message. And you want to communicate it on all levels of consciousness, so that it sinks into different people in different situations in different ways. And it really is able to leave that lasting impression and doesn't just drive people to be inspired and go, woohoo, yeah, that was nice. It actually drives them to change so they can change their lives and they can help change the lives of other people for the better. That really is what it's about. It's about that ripple effect. So if you are ready to step into a whole new elevated way of looking at the world, of raising your awareness, of looking at what's possible and truly communicating your message with absolute mastery, I'm going to invite you to join us for an upcoming training that we have. It's going to be held in the new year, and it is a neurolinguistic programming practitioner training where you get to learn the tools of the masters for how you can communicate to yourself and how you can communicate with others. You are going to learn tools for rapid change that you can start using on the fly in any circumstance to radically expand your life and to radically expand the lives of those you work with. If you work with any human beings, this is the training for you. It will uplevel you as a teacher. It will uplevel you as a leader. It will uplevel you as a CEO. It will uplevel you as a speaker. It will uplevel you as a salesperson. If you work with human beings, this is absolutely key and critical. So I invite you to learn more. We're going to pop links in the chat to just to a landing page where you can learn more about the training. And if you want to have a conversation or apply, this is definitely not just for everybody. I think everyone should do it. Not everyone's ready for it. But if you're interested in applying, submit an application form and we can have a conversation about what that could look like for you. Maybe now's the time, maybe later is a time. However, this truly is a basic. This is a fundamental. These are fundamental tools and skills that as soon as you start to use will absolutely change your life. So with that, go off, go increase your impact, go increase your influence for 2023 and create some serious magic in the world. I would love to hear all about the magic you've decided to create and what you're going to do about it. So share with me in the chats, share with me in our DMs, connect with us through social media, and definitely check out our NLP practitioner training and submit an application form if anything is speaking to you. Okay. Doesn't mean you're committing. It means let's explore and see if it's a good fit for you. So you have a beautiful day. I will see you guys again.